All right, and we're back. We're still here with Edgar. This guy has so much knowledge that I haven't even tapped into. We're just gonna keep it going.
Episode what, nine?
Nine.
I
This isn't
think
gonna get posted for a month.
nine or 10. I don't know.
We're
Okay.
gonna we're just gonna have to start posting 2 a week. We're just loaded.
We're
So,
loaded.
all right, Edgar. We were just talking off the air. Are you want to start back where we were, or you want me to get into questions?
You let me know because I forgot where we left off. So you let me know where you want to pick.
Honestly, whenever you told me that, well, you left off with you have over 50 properties, and it just blew my mind. I thought you were at like
Oh
maybe
yeah. How'd you
20.
scale? That like
So
it
so just
scale?
just to bring everyone back. Last episode, right before we cut off, Edgar said he got a divorce 2020, which was just 3 years ago. He acquired 15 properties. He had to give seven to his ex-wife, so he was down to eight. He sold five of those eight, so he's down to three to gain capital back to keep scaling his business. So in 2020, 3 years ago, Edgar had three properties. And somehow, right before we cut off last episode, he mentioned he has over 50, meaning he acquired over 50 properties in the last 3 years, which is 36 months, meaning he has almost acquired two properties a month, which is insane. So
Yeah.
that's what I want to hear about.
And not only that, but he said he had to give half of his bank account away too. So Edgar, how did you do that? Did you sell your soul to the devil? Ouija board? Uh,
Pretty
I
much
mean,
what I'm hearing
how'd you do
is
that?
you almost started over from zero, and in the past 3 years you have acquired 50 properties, which I'm intrigued to hear because maybe we can all do this together.
All right. So here's I don't know if it's the right answer, but it's my answer, and it's what happened, right? So you'd be surprised how much more you could do with your time when you work, you come home and you work some more, and you sleep 4 to 5 hours a night, and you keep it going. So kind of like I said, so I got down to eight properties after divorce. I sold five, and I didn't sell them immediately. It just kind of like happened. So I was able to buy property. I was gonna burr it. Well, I think I did burr it. And then kind of as things went, like I needed more money, I realized. So from those eight properties, I probably got up to like maybe 12, and then I sold two, and then this, but I ended up selling five, long story short. Um, but once I did that, I was still self-managing, trying to keep all the money as best as I could. And and
So at
then
this
from
point, you
there,
were still self-managing, no property manager, because I
yes,
heard
no
you talk.
property manager at that point.
Okay, I heard you talk a lot about them, so I was just curious.
Yeah. So self-managing at that point still, trying to keep as much money as possible and save, sweat equity. At that point, I wasn't doing any of the work myself. I only did my own work when I first started. But once I started my LLC in 2019, March of 2019, I probably did work on maybe two houses in 19. And after that, I never did any of the work myself. So by this time, I already had all the relationships with contractors. I had the relationship with realtors, were wholesalers in the area, and I just started my own direct marketing. I started selling out mailers, letters to certain areas, and I'd focus on certain neighborhoods in Clarksville and Oak Grove, Kentucky, and and just put in social media platform. I try to get on Facebook and just put the word out there, like, hey, I'm trying to be at the right place at the right time. So if anybody ever thinks of somebody selling a house, hey, call Edgar because he's ready. And that's just the mindset that I went with. Network, let everybody know that you're in the market to buy, and people will call you. And then that's just kind of how it happened. It just happened so quickly. And a lot of it, we talked about relationships in the beginning. Bank relationships matter a lot. So when I first started in 2019 with my LLC, all the banks were asking for my personal financial sheet. They wanted 20, 25% down. Let me look at your income and all these requirements, right? By the time I got to early 21, this is 2 years into it, the banks weren't asking me for anything anymore. They knew my word, they knew I was solid. So I was buying properties cash and cash out refinancing before the properties were even fixed.
So were these small town banks?
Yes, small town banks. I'm a firm believer, and I tell everybody, if you want to invest in real estate, go to your local banks.
Edgar, how long does that take to happen, man? Because that ain't happening for me. And everybody I talk to tells me the same thing. They're like, "This is how I do it." And I'm like, "Okay, well, it don't work like that for me. Why not?"
I don't know.
So
You talked about your local bank and how they've give you the
I'm
100%
still with them,
swap.
buddy. But guess they want all the stuff.
So again, I can only speak for myself and the way it's worked out for me, man. I worked with about 3 local banks in the area. I provided all my financials and everything from the beginning. And every time I sent them a deal, like, hey, I want to buy this property, I'm going to buy it at this purchase price. I believe the ARV, the after repair value, is going to be this much. Here are the comps. This is my scope of work of what I plan to do the property. It's going to cost me 20 grand. This is the contractor. Here's the bid. And I just did that multiple times for about 2 years, from 2019 to about 21. So by the time I got to 2021, springtime, they knew if I told them something, it was going to be solid. And that's where I go back to your reputation, right? Your name, anything attached to your name has to be of the correct quality. So at that point, it was just like, hey, if Edgar's saying ARV is going to be this, then he's right. He's not inflating the numbers. He's not trying to say the ARV is higher than what it is just to get a bigger cash out refinance. It's where it is. So from that point, they just started doing desktop appraisals. They wouldn't send out an appraiser to be out there, and I was able to get my money back within a week or two, which is kind of unheard of.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's for me, like, what was so hard to scale flipping, because I mean, flipping 6, 7, 8 houses a year sounds awesome. You can make decent money, but then it's like, okay, well, how do you ever grow from that unless you're like putting some of those profits into buying rentals, and then again, you're doing the 20% down thing or whatever, unless you're getting deals at a deep discount. But like, I wanted to figure out a way to like, because for me, flipping is how like I provide for my family. Like that's our income too. So I'm like, how do I go from flipping like 6 to 8 a year to doing like 30? How do you go from 8 to 30? Like it's freaking impossible, right? You can't scale that, keeping all your money in the deals and putting 25% down, because the banks aren't like that with me. But and that's another reason I went to the new construction side, because like I'm still learning, but so far it seems like you can be in the deals for no money out of pocket. You just have to have the money to fund the project, and then you get reimbursed by the bank, but you're not bringing 25% down to the closing table every time, so you can
So,
scale really faster.
uh,
Especially
let's
if,
hit, let's hit on that for a bit. Did you just, I think you just purchased your first property or your land today, correct?
Thursday. We close
Oh,
Thursday.
Thursday, you closed on it?
Well, when this airs, I would have already, bought it. So yeah. Hopefully, when next airs, I'm framing, baby.
Yes. So
There
when
you
this
go.
airs, yes, Kyle will have already bought his property, but
Hopefully,
today is technically July 25th. So in 2 days, Kyle's gonna buy his first property to build on, his first piece of land to build on. So big congrats, bud.
thank you. I'm nervous and excited, but thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, Kyle. You do good things.
Edgar, I wanna touch back on something. So okay, you mentioned I started sending out mailers, I started talking to wholesalers. Where did you acquire most of your properties? How did you send out your mailers? How many hits did you get from your mailers? Were they personalized? Were they like normal mailers where you paid someone to make a little postcard? What were they?
No, so again, all of it at that stage of my life, I was trying to keep as much money as possible because I didn't have all the capital like before. So I focused on doing a lot of the mailers. I had a template, and then I would just change the address and the name for the person. And I did it all myself. I did the stamps. Well, I had my kids do the stamps. They did the licking the envelopes. And we did it that way. I didn't do any like deal machine. I know you go out there. That's one of the apps out there. You can just click it and they'll send the postcard. I felt like personalized was the better route. And just to say like, hey, I'm a part of this community. I'm invested here. I'm in the military. Like I want to make this neighborhood better. So I'm willing to buy your house. And wholesalers was another big thing as well. And once you start closing a couple properties, everything else just seems to go. And it's a like a domino effect. You know, once you hit the first one and people know, like, oh, this guy's for real. He's buying them. And even my lender that I use at a local bank here, I remember him telling me when I first called him, he's like, oh yeah, this guy's probably gonna do 2 or 3. That's what most of the guys do around here, and then I'll never hear from them again. And he's like, man, I just couldn't believe that within the first couple months, 10 deals. I was like, oh my God, this guy's insane. And again, being a local bank, they understood like, hey, he's investing in the community, he's raising the value of the properties within the community. It's a good thing. Let's continue funding his deals.
That's what Kyle said as well. Once you get it started, it doesn't stop. You just have to get it started. You got to get in there, get with a wholesaler, let them know that you're the real deal. You're buying, you're checking it out, but more importantly, you're buying. You're doing it. You're just not gonna.
Well, and I think another thing is like a lot of, especially in the wholesaling game, I feel like a lot of wholesalers get played around with a lot. Like they get people who say they're going to buy the house, but what they're really going to do is like daisy chain it. And what I mean by that is like they're going to put the house under contract and they're going to try to resell that contract to another investor. So like it gets daisy chain around or messes around. So it's like if you have a good reputation, like Edgar or any other big buyer in the local area, that we're not, you're buying properties. It's like once they'll call you first, they'll say, hey, I have this property. Do you want to buy it? And he gets like first dibs, or whoever gets first dibs because they're a big buyer. Versus like when you're first starting out, it's pretty difficult to get anybody even take you seriously because they're like, they don't know you, they never sold to you. You're probably the last person they called, or you're last on the list to buy it. So it's like it gets pretty competitive for sure.
Edgar, I got another question for you. I know you currently have, how many doors did you say? 54?
56 doors.
56 doors. Wow. Have you flipped?
Yes.
Do you know how many roughly?
I did the math because I tried to do a little biography and some other thing, but I've done, oh man, if I had to do just flips, again,
Just
I don't have the
rough.
numbers in front of me, so don't quote me, don't go back later and be like, oh, that's wrong. But I'd say at least 20 to 25 flips.
Wow. And you have 56 rentals?
Yes, I'm 56 doors right now. Yes. That includes 2 8-plexes, a 6-plex, 4-plex, duplexes, and the rest are
So when you
single.
say doors, they're still rentals. 50,
Yes.
56 renters.
Yes, renters. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. And when we're
And to caveat on that, the last 20 unit portfolio that I bought was with a partner. So it's
yeah,
my
that's what
first
I was saying.
partnership.
That's what I was about to mention. So I know when we were off air or whatever, when we were just talking before we started recording, you said you're about to or just closed on a 20?
Yeah, so I closed on a 20 unit portfolio in Jackson, Tennessee, and I did that with a partner. So that's my first partnership. Like kind of I mentioned before, my mindset was like I want to do everything alone. I want to just say I could do this and nobody helped me, and I was able to make it on my own. But I've realized now as I get closer to retirement and I'm going to have more time on my hands, the way to scale is with partners, and just surround yourself with people that you trust and have the same mindset as you. And if you want to move fast, you can move by yourself. But if you want to take down bigger game, I'm not going to be able to hunt a buffalo by myself. I need a pack. So I need a pack together. So the person that I partnered with is a dear friend, somebody that started off as just a property manager of mine. And 12 years later, we talk every day, twice a day. Like it's insane. So it was only natural for us to grow together.
So it's very crazy to me that you just said when you're getting ready to retire and you're 38.
I'll be 38, yeah, by the time I retire from the
So
Marines.
you're
36 right now.
37. 36?
I'm 36. I'll be 37 next month.
Okay, so just so y'all can hear, he just said by the time he retires at 38, which is insane because most people say, oh, 65, 67, 69.
Well, and no, it's even crazier, Blake, is he's talking about military retirement, which would be 20 years in, join 18, retire at 38. But Edgar, please correct me if I'm wrong, but if you had to, could you retire right now without the military? Like, could you just be chilling?
Yes, if I wanted to, I am already financially free. I live below my means. I'm nothing fancy. Kyle was just making fun of me for my old truck that was rusted and and beat up that I drove forever and again because I don't need to flex. I don't need to buy nice clothes. I don't need to have a nice vehicle for me to have the wealth. So my net worth is what matters, and the generational wealth is what matters. Is not what I'm showing other people. I'm not trying to impress anybody. But yeah, Kyle was making fun of me about it earlier. 'Cause I
Edgar, what I
finally
love,
You
what I
said,
love
"Hey,
about
bro, I'm
you,
about to buy a Lambo."
dude,
Let's buy a
Edgar, what I love
Lambo.
about you, and by the way, I've never met Edgar in person. I just started talking to him about 2 hours and 50 minutes ago. But this guy, what I truly love about him is that I can tell he actually really, really cares about his children, and that's what I can see personally. And honestly, that's how I feel as well. Is that you do this stuff, you get out of whatever you're getting into that takes most of your time away from your children, and you get into something else that gives you more time with your children or gives you more opportunities with your children to take them maybe on vacation or give them an opportunity later in life like college, or even in your perspective, not probably not have to worry about anything ever because they will have so much passive income by the time that they turn 21 that they probably won't even have to work ever, which is beautiful because that's how I see my children, and I know that's how Kyle sees his children. Is this that's why we do this. Because honestly, it's not for us. We wake up every morning, and the last thought on our mind is ourselves. The first thought on our mind every day is our children. And that's what I think real estate provides. Every day you wake up and you think about your children and you think about the next generation, and it's just beautiful. It really is.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I'm trying to walk a fine line in the sense of you don't want to give your kids everything because if you do, then they don't appreciate it and they don't understand the struggle and everything that you went through. So my fine line is making them still work for things and letting them know that nothing is given, everything is earned, right? Nothing in life is going to become easy. You have to work for anything that you want. So if my kids want something, they know like, hey, I need you to read 10 pages of this book before I give you something. Or if they need, if they want something, it's not just like here it is because I can. It's here it is because you need to learn this. So if you ask my 10-year-old son, anything about plumbing, he could probably tell you if there's a water leak in the house, how to eliminate the sources and get down to is the leak between the meter and the main valve, or is it between the main valve and the toilet or the sinks, and how to eliminate everything slowly. And during COVID, that's one of the things that I really took into account, and just teaching things around the house that you don't realize are things you need to teach your kids, but they need to know that because the day that you're gone, I tell my kids all the time, the only inheritance I'm leaving you is knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Teaching you how to do things. Because it doesn't matter if I leave you $20 million. If you don't know how to manage that $20 million, if you don't know how to live below the means of that $20 million, then it's all going to be worthless and it's all going to go to the trash. So you need to know how everything else. And I have this conversation a lot with a lot of people, the saying of like hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. And it's just this vicious cycle. And every great empire has fallen because the people that went through the hardships to create that great empire generations down the line didn't have to go through that. So they don't understand what it took to get there, and they get complacent. And then it all kind of goes to down the drain. So that's just one of the things that I really, really try to implement into my kids of like, hey, your grandparents sacrificed, leaving the country that they knew, came to a different country without knowing the language, and they were able to succeed. So what's your excuse? Like, you need to succeed. All these tools have been set for you, so you need to work for it. And if you're not willing to work for it, then I'm not gonna leave you an inheritance, if that makes sense. Like, don't count on the safety net of whatever portfolio I've built.
Edgar, that was one of the best lines I've ever heard. I mean, truly. Can you say that one more time? I'm serious because that was awesome.
I don't know which line in particular, but
The line about building stuff.
Yeah, no, that was great.
I was gonna ask too, but I was like, I'll just ask him after. But I was gonna
I want to hear that one again.
Like what? Oh, every great empire has fallen because the generations before it didn't have to go through the hardships that the
Yeah, yeah.
generation that created it went through.
Yeah, like you
Did
said,
you
somebody
just make
built
that
it,
up?
somebody destroyed it, somebody did something, and
Did you
somebody
just
else
make
did
that
that.
up, or do you actually know that by heart?
No,
Because
I
I
know that by heart. I live by that saying.
tell me
I
that,
just
please,
Say
one
it
more
one
time.
more
and
time.
I can't take credit for me coming up with it. I read that in a book sometime or but whatever. But the saying goes, strong men create good times create weak men. Oh, I just messed this up now. Man, you put me on the spot, man. I said
I
it
know. I'm
perfectly.
sorry, dude. That was great.
Oh man.
Strong man,
Hold
strong man,
on.
good
Okay.
times, good
All right.
time.
Good
Don't worry.
times, yeah. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. And I feel like I still missed that.
Weekend,
We'll come back to it because that was.
hard times, and then hard times.
Now let's come back to it.
I don't know, man.
Now
We'll
you
come
put me
back
on the
to it.
spot. I said it flowed
I
so
know.
easily
I'm
earlier,
sorry,
and
dude.
now
That
it's
was
just
great.
recording, so we could always just watch it again.
Yeah, I'll
Right?
watch it again, but that was great.
It was pretty nice, bro. I was like, man, solid.
All right. So, Edgar, I am still curious how in 3 years you scaled from 3 to 50. What do you say? 58, 56,
56.
56.
Yeah, I have questions about that too.
Yeah. So
But
again, the biggest thing, like honestly, there's no like 100% like this is it. Like it's just the deals came in. COVID was happening at the time.
Wholesaling?
The what?
What was your biggest advocate? Wholesalers or?
were
Yeah.
you like cash heavy during this process, or like how did you get the capital to
Yeah, that's a
even?
lot of money needed for 56 properties.
So when I say I gave away half my bank account, I was still left with almost six digits. Just because during my marriage and the properties that I acquired, I had six digits. So probably when I got divorced, I was left with maybe $85,000 ish.
That's still not like a lot to buy 50 properties, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, again, that goes with time, right? And I know 3 years doesn't seem like a long time, but it's one of those. If you're better every day 1 degree, like you're just better. I'm not in competition with anyone else. I'm not trying to like go out there and boast of like, oh, I'm doing this great thing. I'm just in competition with myself and I'm just trying to be better. So all I did really in reality was go network and tell people I'm buying, get a wholesalers list and just build that relationship. So as I mentioned before, as I was selling property, I was scaling, I was buying 20%, burring. So anytime I did a true burr, I left zero money in that deal and walked away with about 20 grand minimum.
All right.
So once you do that times 5 properties, that's $100,000.
Quick question, just because you're correct. This was 21, 22. You were getting what kind of interest rate for?
At the time, yes, I was getting about 4 to 5.5. And
But
at
it's
one point,
commercial.
I had a pretty good
Oh, this is
portfolio,
commercial?
commercial loan, yes, for my LLC.
Okay.
And I did an interest rate reduction to 3.75 when I had such a good portfolio and rates had dropped so much.
You bought it down?
Yes, I bought my rates down to 3.75.
So this is commercial loan. Okay. Okay. All right. Keep going.
So yeah, really that to me, I believe was my success. I was just doing right by people. And I got a wholesalers list, and a lot of wholesalers just started bringing me listings. And I think the other thing that helped me is within the military. So once I spread the word within my military organization, saying like, "Hey, I'm buying properties. This is what I'm doing," immediately like, "Hey, I have a friend that's gonna move next year or within the next couple months. He doesn't know when. He just wants to make sure he locks in something where he can sell his property. He knows someone's gonna buy it. He doesn't have to worry about showing the property, anybody walking through his house." So within the military, I got a bunch of leads. I got a bunch of leads from wholesalers, a bunch of leads from realtors, and from there it just immediately happened. And then I expanded. I started going on Facebook and I was making posts like, "Hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm looking for." And then I had friends all over. So people from Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and Fort Bragg, North Carolina, called me and said, "Hey, I have friends that are also leaving. Can you buy theirs?" So now I have properties in those states as well.
Hey, How many states are you in? 3?
4: Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina.
Wow.
Noise. Impressive. That's amazing. Amazing.
And again, I credit all that success to just relationships. I'm telling you, like 100% relationships. As soon as people know you're going to do the right thing, and you're going to close, at the end of the day, some people might offer more money, but if they know you're going to close and you're solid, you're going to get the deal.
No,
Was there-
exactly. And you're going to be the first call too. That's the thing. They've done deals with you before. They got another one. Who they calling first? You. And if you pass, they're calling 4 other people. Guess who they're calling last? They calling me.
You're
Was
up there,
there
Kyle.
any
Don't act.
extra motivation, like books, podcasts? Was there anything you watched, read that gave you any additional or not really?
Yes, bigger podcast was a big thing for me when I first started out. I really enjoyed it. A lot of great information out there. The Rich Dad Poor Dad, the loopholes of real estate. Like I think that was really one that like just shifted my mindset of how many loopholes there are in real estate.
Like
Who,
taxes and
who
all that.
writes that? Do you know?
It's a part of the Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'll tell you right now because it's on my Audible here.
Have
It's
you read any
Garrett
Brent
Sutton.
Phillips?
It's Garrett Sutton with Robert Kiyosaki. That was a great book, and the book on tax strategies for the savvy real estate investor. That's another great book that had a big impact on me. Never Split the Difference.
Oh yeah.
That's a great book too.
Negotiation. That's a good one.
And that helps you in everything. I tell people it's not just real estate. Like that'll help you in your marriage. That'll help you in your
Yeah.
work. That'll help you in everything. And then the Compound Effect. I think the Compound Effect is a great book. If you haven't read it, it's a super simple read. And it just talks about just being better every day and just how little things add up.
I did hear you say, shoot, maybe in our first episode with you, that you are just trying to get 1% better every day. Did you get that from a book? Because I have read that in a book.
Yeah, I think it was from the Compound Effect. I think it was actually that book where it came. Just
Yeah.
I've heard,
Compound
I've heard a lot
1%.
of like big people talk about that. So they had to stop somewhere. Everybody steals something from somebody. So
yeah, yeah. And again, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I haven't invented the wheel. I'm just the wheel's been invented, and the knowledge is out there, and a lot of people will share and invest in yourself, right? Like get these books, get this education, talk to other people, and that's where the word comes from.
yeah.
So
All right, Edgar. Oh, well, Blake, do you have
I
any
got one
more?
more question. Yeah. So you started early, in my opinion, in the game. You started, I guess, 2009. You bought your first house, right?
Yes, yeah, like 2009.
Do you feel that you were pre HGTV, flipper flop era, and that kind of helped you out getting started, or not really?
Oh yes, 100%. You look at those TV shows, and I look at the numbers of how they run them. I'm like, that is not true. You didn't account for closing costs. You didn't account for realtor fee. You didn't account for all this. Oh yeah, no, that is 100%. In
But
my opinion,
do you feel like after that happened, there was a lot more people on the table looking for the deals?
honestly, I don't think so. In my personal opinion, I feel like those shows gave people more of a
Also,
analysis paralysis of like, oh, this is great. Let me sit here on the couch and watch people do this and get the idea of what I could do versus the guys like me that don't watch TV, didn't even pay attention to it, and were just grinding, making the deals happen, if that makes sense.
because
Yeah, I feel like everybody who followed that nonsense on TV, they fell flat on their face and
no,
quickly.
what Colin and I have said in the
They're
previous
not the
podcast, don't let him lie to you, is that that was kind of an inspiration to both of us.
No, it was an inspiration for me, but I knew the actual numbers. That wasn't like I'm rolling in there. What inspired me was watching like the old become new. I love seeing like something that's a POS become this beautiful thing. I love seeing the end product. That's just something I've always really enjoyed, especially in our area, like especially downtown Clarksville, like being able to take this old piece of junk that's in our town that's gonna be filled with terrible people, whatever, and renovating it, making it awesome towards a part of the community forever. Like I just really think it's a good thing. I enjoy it. And now when I drive around, I can tell. Like my son's old enough, I can be like, "Hey, you see that house? Daddy did that house. I did this one, and it's cool, you know." And the more I keep doing it, the older I get. Now they're like, "Daddy built this house." You know, it'd just be really awesome to watch. You know, it's just like I just love our community where we're at. You know.
I agree, man. I think everything that resonates with all three of us is the generational setting it up for our children, making it happen, showing them a good role model, someone who works hard and isn't lazy. And every day they get out there and they do what they have to do for their family. That's pretty cool. I
Yeah,
greatly
for
enjoy
sure,
that.
man. And I think that's what it's all about. Making each generation better.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I have one more thing. And
Go ahead.
I keep thinking of more things, but
I
so
know.
just real quick. But the generational wealth thing. So that's why I named my company that
Did you
generational.
get it up? Did you get your company name after Edgar?
I did not, but I
You
was
told me
on.
one of your buddies said generational wealth one time, and I feel like no, it was Edgar because
No, he may have, but I didn't because I was gonna name it a bunch of different things, and then I was like, I can't name it. That doesn't mean anything to me. I need to think of something what's meaningful to me, and the only thing I come up with is that I want to leave like a generational legacy to my kids, and that's why I named it generational. At first, it was home buyers, and then I was gonna try to wholesale stuff, and I was like, I ain't doing that. No, that's not for me. And then generational home builders, and that's my company name. And hopefully it resonates with my kids and lasts a long time. But that's why I ended that because I want to leave a generational legacy for my family. That's the name of the company, Generation. So just wanted to say that real quick because Edgar mentioned that. But one more question for you before we. How much time we got?
5 minutes.
Oh, it's at the top. I never saw it. Let's see it. Okay,
Man, time
5
goes
minutes.
quick here. I feel like we barely get into something.
All right, Edgar. So we got about 5 minutes left. Okay, so I want to leave a little bit of time for you at the very end.
Edgar, what do you want to spew? Spew it out.
You guys tell me. I'm here for you guys, and hopefully hopefully we're adding value to the community at the end
No,
of the
we
day.
are for sure. All right. Advice for people in the military,
Oh,
E1
great.
to E3. Advice for anybody at a 9 to 5 that they hate and they want to
Yeah,
quit.
let's not cut it to military. Yeah, all of them.
No, all of
Nice.
everything.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll start with number one. Have a good financial base. If you don't have a good financial base, it's just not going to work. You're not ready to invest. If you make $1,000, you don't spend $1,000. If you make $1,000, that means you need to spend about 500. That's what you need a budget for. And then your other 20% can be for your rainy fund, and then that other 30% goes towards investment. Investment money stays with investment money. Don't mix it with your day-to-day life. And a simple way that I say this is for people in the military, you get a pay raise every January. So every January, make an allotment, just separate that money and don't look at it. You're not changing your lifestyle. You're not doing anything different, and you're saving money. Same thing when you get a promotion, and you can use that in the civilian sector as well. Like anytime you get a promotion or get a bonus, don't touch that money. You're living just fine on your paycheck. Put that money aside and use that as investment money, and there's your capital. And that's just prime, just 100%. You need to have a good financial basis. That's my advice to anyone that's starting out. If you have that BMW, if you're renting with a BMW, you're probably wrong. You need to have a old Honda Accord, so you can buy the house. Like again, you're not trying to impress anyone. You're trying to build your own legacy, and whatever that legacy is for you. And again, the beauty of real estate, everybody's journey is different. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Everyone's at a different level of it. You are only comparing yourself to you, and as long as you're better than yourself, you're good. No, what was the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick? Man, you put me on the spot. Was the
Don't think about it because I'll
Hey,
cut
well,
you
I got one thing for you, Edgar. While you think about it, okay, how can people connect with you? How can they follow you? Where are you at on the social media? And most importantly, if anybody has a house they need to sell, how do they find you if you want to buy it? Like, tell us.
All right, well, too easy. If you need to sell a house, call me. I'll give him my cell number here, 931-219-2039. And then I'm on social media, Instagram, Vet Spine Homes, and on Facebook, VBH 37043. And what I'm looking for is that transition now. I'm looking to grow and do a multifamily commercial real estate. I'm trying to get out of the single family game. And again, I'm just trying to, I have a team now and we're as a pack trying to tackle bigger deals, 50 to 150 units. And that's my goal. And again, just we're working on capital raising now. We're working on a KP, which is the key principal to someone sign off on the loan, which in this case will most likely be myself. Asset manager, someone to manage the asset once we have it. Again, just big goals. If you're interested, if you don't know how to invest, but you have some money set aside, hey, feel free to reach out. And reach out. We could put the money to work for you, I assure you. And you could be a limited partner in this new asset. You could be part owner, so you get the tax benefits without being in the day-to-day grind. You can get the entity will file taxes. You will get a K1 at the end of the year. And that way you get depreciation benefits and you get the benefits of appreciation as a property, as we raise the value of this property, and you get a cash flow on a quarterly basis, monthly basis. Still working out the kinks on that, but yes, big things to come.
Awesome, man. You sound like Grant Cardone. He was 36 years old or something.
One day, I don't know if I'll ever get to that level, but we'll see.
Well, great, man. Well, hey,
X, baby,
you
10X.
think about that last thing you need to say, or we rolling?
No,
All right.
buddy. I'm proud. I'm happy. Edgar,
Sounds good.
thank you so
Hard
much.
times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times.
There
Boom.
you go.
Yeah,
Boom.
we're
Two
out.
times for you. So that's gonna cost you guys. You said it twice.
Later.
Again, appreciate you guys having me on here, man.
Hey, thank you,
Thank you
Edgar,
so
man.
much,
You're
buddy.
the man. I'm so glad I know you, and just can't wait to see how far you go, buddy. Thank you so much for coming on.
Me too, man. I got your number now. We're gonna connect. Thanks, Edgar. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so
Sounds
much.
good. Talk to y'all later.